If you are new here, then please subscribe and press the like button below, and also go ahead and press that little bell that's below. That's the post update notification, and that'll let you guys know when a new video is updated. And today we are doing something super exciting because I have brought along Robbie, which is my fiance. And if you guys have been following my channel and watching every single video, then you guys know who Robbie is. And you guys all know Olivia. We are going to do the love story, the secret love story. And what that means is we're going to be putting on headphones, listening to loud music, and each one of us has to answer the same exact questions. And these are not right or wrong answers. These are just simple questions about how we met and our love story. And with the headphones on, we cannot hear each other, and so we will not know exactly what we have said to each other until the editing process. So it should be pretty interesting. Robbie is gonna go ahead and he's going to start with the headphones, putting the headphones on and listening to music, and then I am going to start off with the first question. Can you hear me? Are you lying? Okay, so the first question is, how did you guys meet? We actually met through my brother, and I lived in a little town 2 hours away from him, and he lived in the Bay Area, and I came down to visit my brother, and we went to a football practice. That's not when we first met, but that's when I first saw him. And then we first met when he came over to hang out with my brother at my aunt and uncle's house.
How did you guys meet? Well, I met Nicole after one of my football practices because her and her brother and I played together, and we went to her brother's house, uncle's house, and he said his sister was there, and I was cracking up because if you ever see your brother one day, he's he was 18-year-old and bald at the time, so I figured he'd look the same, and I walked in, and I stopped for a second, and I said, holy cow. I think he was pretty upset, but that's a different story.
What would life be like without the other person? If I didn't meet him, then I have no idea what life would be like. I honestly I don't know, because if I didn't meet him, I could have gone down a very bad road. I was getting into a lot of trouble in high school and everything, and I didn't want to go to school, and I didn't have much ambition. So when I met him, I really wanted to better myself, and so I wanted to go to school, I wanted to go to college, I wanted to stop hanging out with the bad crowd, and that's where I am today. I'm still going to school and I'm still trying to better myself, but I feel like I could have gone down a different path if it wasn't for him. And now thinking about if something would have happened to him, and now having 2 kids together, and we're supposed to be getting married and everything, if something were to happen where he were not in my life, I think it would be really hard on me and the family, just because him and I are a team and we try to do everything together, and I mean, him and I are each other's family, and so it would be really difficult to try to even go through life without the other person. And if you guys have watched the show Friends, then you guys know what I'm talking about, but as Phoebe says, he's my lobster, and I truly believe that.
Without Nicole, before kids, we'll talk about that first, didn't really ever have a serious girlfriend until her, and obviously haven't since, but never really felt my life changed because of somebody. I was more of, whatever, someone liked me, that was fine. But once I met Nicole, it's the first time I really fell for somebody. So without her, I mean, I never would have went to school, probably wouldn't have got as far as I did playing football.
The next question is, what's been the hardest part about the relationship? I think it depends on which part of the relationship, because we've gone through so many phases together. We've almost been together for 12 years. And at the very beginning, I think the hardest part was being long distance, because we were long distance for about 8 years out of our relationship. And then communicating sucked really bad. Him and I did not know how to communicate at all. And so we got into a lot of arguments and things like that. Now we hardly get into any arguments now, and I think that's a part of growing up in a relationship, that you begin to learn more about the other person and learn about what aggravates them and what annoys them. And ultimately you learn about what you want in life, and you have to pick and choose what is worth being angry and upset about. Now, what's the hardest part about the relationship after having 2 kids under 2? Probably getting alone time. It's alone time together. That's really difficult. He's working all the time. I'm at home with the kids and going to school. And so it's really hard to be together, and that kind of puts a toll on the relationship a little bit. But that's what I think is the hardest part right now, because in all other areas, we're pretty solid as a couple.
What's been the hardest part about the relationship? Oh, buddy. Well, first off, we lived about an hour and a half away from each other. She lived in way northern California, and I lived in the Bay Area. So when I first met her, she just was down visiting her family. So when we first started dating, that was a long drive every day, and then I happened to work in San Francisco, which is about 2.5 hours away. So I'd work through the week, and then on the weekends after work I would drive to see her. So sometimes I'd see her for 10 hours in a week, and most of that time we were sleeping anyways. Outside of the distance part, throughout football and coaching and all that stuff, is travel for me, or just being distant. So I moved to Alabama for a semester and hated it without her there. She was going to move out there, I'm glad she didn't, because I probably would have stayed out there. But I came back and we ended up in the Bay Area. She was still had distance between us, we always had, until I finally graduated and we finally lived together. So after that, the hardest part's just been just my lifestyle as far as being in athletics, which is way different from her, because she's never been in athletics as far as being on a team. So the demands that you have and the time you kind of put into it is hard for someone that hasn't done it or understands that part of it. So there's constant battles there.
Okay, you need to get this song off of your iPod. What does that even mean?
Lumps in my pocket. That's a great song.
I would not feel cool walking around singing lumps in my pocket.
Make you rich.
Unless you're a guy.
Unless you are, man. See, people from the Bay Area will know about this. If you're not, they won't know.
Well, I'm just saying there's like lumps in my pocket, lumps in my pocket.
Well, if anyone sees this, they'll know.
Okay. The next question is, what has he taught me about myself? I guess overall, I would say self-worth. Growing up without parents and stuff, you kind of question your worth, unfortunately, in this world, and being with somebody that actually sticks with you and doesn't abandon you and leave you or anything, and that actually wants to work things out when things are going wrong, I think that is probably the most important thing that he's taught me. Little things that he's taught me is just how to cook more in the kitchen, how to clean more, because I'm probably the messiest one out of either of us. And he's kind of smiling right now, so I don't know if he can hear me. But yeah, it taught me about myself. I don't know, being with him, I just want to do more and just finish school, and so I can help take care of him and take care of our family like he has helped emotionally take care of me throughout the years. So that is that. I'm sure he will like to teach me a whole lot more because he is a coach and a teacher, and he just loves trying to teach me, and I think that I know everything, so I make him feel like he hasn't taught me anything.
Well, initially, being able to really love somebody and do things I wouldn't do for them, or I wouldn't do myself, like this, for instance. I was never a romantic person, I didn't think, until I met her. So I mean, that's what she kind of taught me about myself. You know, maybe not as much the last year or two because I've been working so much, but you know, still try to do little things for her. And I was never like that growing up, I don't think. I mean, I don't remember, but again, when you don't have someone you really care about before, it's kind of hard to be romantic, I guess. Other things she's taught about me or myself is, you know, being a dad, I guess. I mean, that was something I didn't plan on doing. I never thought about kids growing up, and you know, most girls, I guess some guys do too, think about that. Their whole life, they have 3 or 4 kids or this and that. She has everything planned out, like in that regard. I'm not that kind of planner, and I didn't think kids were part of my plan for a long time, and they are, and it's been different, but you know, it's been great, and she kind of taught me that, you know, I can't be a good dad and still be with somebody and still have a job and do it all. So outside of that, what else she taught me about myself? I can be committed, you know, even if there is distance, or I'm willing to make things work, you know, and maybe before I didn't think that was possible.
Okay, next question is, when did you know he was different? And there's this one moment before him and I were actually in a relationship together. It took us a while to actually be in a relationship together. I met him when I was 15, and we actually didn't start being in a relationship until I was 17. And so when this particular moment happened, him and I were not together at all, and it was, I came down to visit my brother, and and we went to their high school where they went to school, and he was walking around in just like slipper moccasins, like little slipper moccasins, and rushing around and trying to get his senior project completed. And that was like the moment I actually really started to like him, which is funny because that is just such a weird moment to start liking somebody just because they're wearing like slipper moccasins. But that was more, I don't know what that was. I just felt like I could probably relate more to him, and I like that he didn't try to like dress up and be cocky or anything. He was just like being himself and everything, and I felt like he was super different at that point, and it came to be that he's just a super hard worker, and I really appreciated that because he became super ambitious and everything, and that's just when I felt like he was very different. And he was my first official boyfriend ever, and so I didn't have anything to really compare him to. I only had, you know, things to compare him to were just like guys that had tried to hit on me or talk to me. And with him, just talking to him, it was very casual. It was more like we had known each other for a while, and so it was like very down to earth, and there was like no pressure at all. So when I was able to talk to him, it was actually really nice. I say when I was able to talk to him because I was very shy most of the time, and I couldn't really.
This goes back to the first question, when I first saw her. I have never believed, or you know, you see somebody like, you know, as you see pretty girls, whatever, yeah, they're pretty, but when I saw her, I was like, I already said, holy cow, like, that's probably one of the ones, I don't know. And then, you know, once we got to sit down and talk to her, and, you know, caused controversy amongst me and her brother, but that's when I knew even more, because I don't really like, I've never really like talking to girls. I have a lot of sisters, but I don't like talking to girls normally because my interests aren't normally the same, and maybe I'm selfish in that way, but talking to her, I felt like I could, and it was never a problem. I never talked on the phone for hours with a girl before. Never, looked forward to that. And, that's something that you know. When you find that, it's pretty different, pretty special. But I don't know. I guess it's right when I met her though, and I'm not a big person of love at first sight or anything like that. But I know she was different, and then we talked, and I knew that she was probably the one, even though it took a long time to become the one.
I feel like I want to fight somebody after listening to that song.
So that's why it's my workout plans. You get freaking.
Last question. What was your first impression of him? Well, the very first impression of him, I think it was, oh my God, he is so cute. Because the first time I saw him, he was just wearing a football helmet. He was at football practice, and the only thing I saw of him was his fish lips. His little guppy fish lips, and I still love his fish lips. But yeah, weird quality, weird impression, but that was it. And then later on, when him and I officially actually met, I guess he was trying to flirt with me. I don't know, but he was kind of being obnoxious, and he was taking my phone and grabbing my phone away from me when we were at my aunt and uncle's house, and that really annoyed me. And so he had my phone, and he was like going through it, and just to like flirt or whatever, and I took the phone back from him and I threw it at him, and I hit him in his head, and he was like, "Oh, you bitch." And I was just like, well, you're just super cocky, and you're just super nosy and trying to be controlling. But initial first impression was good, because after I very first met him and I saw him, I went back home to my little town and told my aunt that raised me that I found the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. And that was super crazy to say, just being at 15 years old and going home and saying I met the person that I want to marry. It was like a big deal, and it's true. So that's really neat. We're still together, and we are getting married now, so that's awesome.
My first impression, like I already said, was pretty much damn, like that. But a while, but in my head, I kind of stopped and kind of just felt like heart stop or something like that. Don't lose your breath, whatever you want to say. But I was turned the corner of her uncle's house. I just don't remember that. And saw her, and completely opposite of what I was expecting. Maybe it's like when you go and see a movie and you have low expectations and it's amazing. Maybe that's what it was, I don't know. But I still got that whenever I saw her. When I come home still, when she's wears her little pajamas or whatever, to get dressed up, it's, I still feel that. So, it's still like when I first met her. So, the same first impression. I don't think she believes that. Even if I tell her that, she said I have to say that now, but I don't know. She was pretty shy, kind of, I thought, but with me, she wasn't after we started talking. She was, outgoing when she was around her friends and around people she knew. She liked to go do things a lot, have fun, and that's kind of my first impression of her. And it's been up and down with how she's been with me, but it's been a pretty good. My first impression was pretty correct, I guess you can say.
Okay, that is all the questions we have for you guys today. If you guys like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and I will be updating you more on my crazy life story. So I will talk to you later. Bye!